tonight. We've got a plan. My guest tonight, Eric Greitens. He's the founder of The Mission Continues, a great organization, author of Resilience, Hard-Won Wisdom, Living a Better Life. But I want to start tonight by talking about not a good person like Eric Greitens, but a terrible person. I want to talk about a man rotten to his very core, which is in itself a tiny black hole from which no joy or light can escape. The ancient Coptics knew this man as Unhohotek, the Dark One. French peasants referred to him as Le Monstro avec les dents fonfons. The jagged-toothed forest demon who steals our children. We know him as former Vice President Dick Cheney. Now and then he slithers out from his lair inside a mountain of kitten corpses and goes on TV or radio saying awful things. Usually we ignore it. But sometimes you just can't.
Mr. Vice President, you dealt with Iran a lot, both as Secretary of Defense, 8 years as Vice President. Do they strike you as a practically minded and responsive regime?
This is a totally radical regime that is the premier sponsor of state terrorism in the world, and Obama's about to give them nuclear weapons. It's I can't think of a more terrible burden to leave the next president than what Obama's creating here.
Really? You can't think of an administration that left a more terrible burden. Think hard. No, wait. Think, if I can ask you, think harder. Can you think? Maybe you need a visual aid. Can you think of an administration that left... All right. But that wasn't even the worst thing Cheney had to say.
Is he naive?
If you had somebody as president who wanted to take America down, who wanted to fundamentally weaken our position in the world, reduce our capacity to influence events, turn our back on our allies, and encourage our adversaries, it would look exactly like what Barack Obama is doing.
Is Barack Obama a traitor? I don't know if he's a traitor, but he does a great impression of a traitor. But basically, the vice president's point appears to be this. Anyone who strengthens the strategic position of Iran is, by definition, working to weaken the United States of America. So I guess the formulation would be whoever strengthened Iran more would be the greater threat to America. Using Dick Cheney's own metric as our baseline, can we uncover a greater threat to America than even Barack Obama? Well, we find out in tonight's nail-biting installment of... Thank you for joining me in the library, Mr. Vice President. Mr. Vice President. Represented here by a balloon with a frowny face drawn on it. Vice President Cheney, you've leveled some serious charges that Barack Obama has strengthened Iran. Is there anything else you can think of over the last, say, 12 years and 28 days that could also be seen as fundamentally strengthening Iran's position in that region?
One of the consequences of our invasion of Iraq was ultimately to strengthen Iran's role and influence in the regions.
And who, sir, was responsible for that invasion? Who, sir? Well, look it up in my history book here. Let me see. What I can do here, you know. By gum, it was you! It was you! I take your reddened face as embarrassment. And if invading Iraq not only removed Iran's closest foe, but complicated America's ability to actively countervail Iran's nuclear program, well, in fact, according to the International Atomic Energy Agency, by the end of your administration, Vice President Cheney, Iran had over 20 times the number of uranium-enriching centrifuges as when you came into office. And that... Could that not be considered handing Iran a nuclear weapon, sir? A conclusion so damning it can only be spoken through two different oral affectations. I see the smile and lines and topography is gone from your face. Yes, Dick Cheney, you took out Iran's enemies while giving Iran time to build up their nuclear program. But surely you could course correct this by just installing in Iraq another strong anti-Iranian government to take Saddam Hussein's place, as any America-loving vice president would do. What was your move, sir?
In Baghdad, with violence growing, the Bush team began urgently looking for an Iraqi leader to unite the country and stop the fighting. A CIA officer at the embassy had a suggestion. A relatively unknown Shiite member of parliament, Nouri Kamal al-Maliki.
And that's when Maliki walked in. And that's when Maliki walked in, and I decided to shift genres. Maliki. He was a heart-stopping dame. Actually, a middle-aged Iraqi man. He called himself al-Maliki, and he had a pair of getaway sticks that went all the way up from the floor to his pelvic region like a normal adult. Who was this brave future enemy of Iran?
For 25 years, this guy's been a hardline Shiite sectarian politician. When he was in exile from Saddam Hussein's regime, he lived in Iran. He was funded by the Iranians.
For an American administration to replace Saddam Hussein with a man emboldened and indebted to our greatest regional enemy, according to Dick Cheney's own logic, anyone who trusted Maliki would have to be naive or deliberately trying to weaken America.
You trust Nouri al-Maliki?
I do. At this point, I don't have any reason not to trust him.
Do you? Well, it seems you're getting sweat on your brow. It seems you're getting a little hot in here, isn't it, Mr. Vice President? Strange. I find the temperature quite mild. Still not going to confess your disingenuous, utterly lacking in self-examination, ironic attack on the Obama administration? Well, I guess I'll have to give up. You know? Guess I'll just have to go back and report to my superiors that I couldn't crack the case. What are you going to do? One more thing. One more thing, Mr. Vice President. I just can't get it out of my mind. You mentioned earlier there's a reason why you would never want an American president to deal with Iran. And you've thought so for quite some time. Isn't that true?
Iranians have endured a generation of repression at the hands of a fanatical regime. That regime is one of the world's primary state sponsors of terror.
Wow! State sponsors of terrorism. So you yourself would never do something or engage with a regime such as that for their benefit, or perhaps yours, even when, let's say, in 1998, you were CEO of a giant oil services company. What was the name again? Halliburton. I don't know what it's called. Halliburton.
We find ourselves these days, American firms, cut out of the action in terms of anything that develops with respect to Iran. Unfortunately, as has been pointed out repeatedly in recent weeks, our government has become sanctions happy.
Wow, very interesting. You, sir, were arguing for the United States to lift sanctions on Iran so your company, Halliburton, could get contracts with this radical regime. Contracts worth millions of dollars. And pardon me if I'm impugning your character. I hate to do it. But what would you make of a man whose final act in the business world before joining the American government as vice president would be to enter into contracts with the #1 state sponsor of terror just before leaving to become Bush's running mate? Contracts that were only legal because you did them through a foreign subsidiary, Mr. Cheney. And then once you were in office, in gratitude for Iran's money, you hand Iran the greatest prize of all, Iraq. Isn't it you, sir, who is the double agent determined to bring America down? Isn't it you? He's getting away! He's getting away! He's getting... What? He's getting... Damn you, Dick Cheney! We'll be right back.